it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. It's time to dive into a new topic. We've been doing a lot of content related to another family vlogger, Micah Stauffer and the Stauffer Life. And today we're going to talk about 8 Passengers. So if you are not familiar with 8 Passengers is a family of 8. They are mom and dad is Ruby and dad is Kevin, and they have 6 children. Recently, in a vlog that has now been since deleted, Ruby discussed some of the issues going on with her son and her children. Now, she has 6 kids ranging in a variety of ages, from like a senior in high school to down to kindergarten. And she is a Mormon, and she and her husband have a very strict way of bringing up their children. Now, one thing that fans or subscribers have been watching for years is that Ruby seems to make decisions that make people feel like her parenting is a little bit stricter than the average person. And in a recent video, now that's been deleted, she talked about an issue that had happened. Now, in the beginning of the video, she talked about how her and her husband, Kevin, had been at a retreat, and that because of the information and all the things that she had ascertained at this retreat, she was considering starting another channel where she would offer parenting advice and just all like life advice. But it was also during the same video that her children were in the room, and she discussed how while they were gone, they were supposed to not use their iPads, and they did use their iPads. And because they weren't responsible with it, she was going to take away their iPads for the entire summer. Yeah, she was gone for a couple days, and that somehow equates taking away something for 3 months. I've never heard of a parent doing something like that, but that's me. Everyone has different parenting styles. That seems very severe. Well, it wasn't just that she was taking away the social media and the iPads from her youngest children, but it was also in this video that her kids just admitted that they don't have any friends, that summer is going to be really hard because they don't have any friends, they don't have any iPads, they can't watch TV, they can't do anything other than play. But it was an admission by her oldest son, Chad, who had recently been sent away to a wilderness retreat for some reason, which she was cagey about and didn't say online. And it was his admission about how returning from this retreat, his parents made him sleep on the floor. So in a video which was deleted but is now back up on YouTube, this is the clip. As you see, she explained that he was doing some things where he pranked his little brother. He had him hanging from a basketball hoop, and he apparently used a BB gun, and then he also tricked his brother to thinking that he was going to Disneyland and it wasn't happening. And so her response was to take away his bedroom. Now, mind you, he had just returned from this place called Anasazi, which is a wilderness camp that she had sent him to for 2.5 months. Fans at the time were surprised at why he was being sent away. They never really said why he was being sent away in a Q&A. Chad said that he was sent away for being a bad boy, and that was really the only explanation that they gave. Now, they sent him to this retreat for 2 months where he basically slept outside and he was in the wilderness. He comes home, and he gets home and he does that to his little brother, and she takes away his bedroom. So he sleeps on the floor for 7 months after she made him go into a wilderness camp for 2.5 months where he slept on the ground. So obviously fans are outraged because who does that? Like, what parent does that? Not only that, but like, you can see in the video, she's like, well, what? Like, I don't think our viewers know that. So obviously this is a family that has put everything on their YouTube. They have this YouTube, their kids each have YouTubes. This is a family that has been online for 8+ years and documented everything of their lives. Their kids have absolutely no privacy, and she clickbaits everything from taking the kids to the doctor, to homeschooling, to going to school. And it makes you wonder, like, okay, so she took that away from him, and then she took Russell's iPad from him and all electronics, and she admitted in the same video to taking her second oldest daughter's phone away from her because of not being responsible with it. And so her natural reaction is she's going to take everything away, and parents are like, whoa, that's like extreme. And it is extreme. Having your child sleep on the floor for 7 months after forcing him into the wilderness for 2.5 months is crazy to me. But the fact that she feels comfortable sharing this online is another example to me about why these family vloggers are out of control. Now, I don't want to say all family vloggers are bad, because I've talked to some since starting the series, and some have good hearts, but some simply care more about money and don't care about the privacy of their children. This isn't the first time either that she has made fans upset. Only a few months ago, she was on her channel and on her Instagram where she talked about her daughter and not feeding her lunch. And this part has people outraged.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
So a lot of people have been documenting the very problematic things that Ruby has been doing. And this is an example of a WTF, another time of why would you share this on your social media? Ruby is not talking about a high school girl. She's not talking about a middle school girl. She's talking about a girl who's in kindergarten. A child who is expected at 5 or 6 years old to pack her own lunch, remember to bring her own lunch, and if she doesn't get or bring her lunch and pack it and bring it to school, she doesn't get fed. And under no circumstances can I find that acceptable, and I can't see how a school would be okay with that. A school's responsibility is to make sure that the children are not just taken learning, but that they're taken care of. And feeding a child is so critical when you're at school. There's so many studies that prove that children need food, not only to grow, but for their brains to work. And if she's worrying at school all day about being hungry, it makes you wonder how her experience is at school. Now, and she admits that it wasn't the first time. And so she's got a ton of backlash for that. And so she responded in a very weird fashion by uploading a video where she described how the teacher actually agreed with her, which I'm going to say no teacher ever would agree with this, but I want to just show you this clip.
Had parent-teacher conferences and talked to Eve's teacher and spoke about the whole lunch issue. So after I posted a video about Eve forgetting her lunch, well, she didn't forget her lunch. She actually lied about making her lunch and taking it to school. She told me she did. Clearly she didn't. Called me in the middle of the day, said, "Mom, I didn't bring a lunch." I had a conversation with her teacher about it, and it sounds like we're on the very same page. There are a lot of teachers out there who are just looking for some support from parents to teach their kids responsibility. Is my child being neglected because she missed a lunch? No. No, she's not. She's not going to starve to death. She is not being neglected. But she is learning an uncomfortable lesson of what it means to actually be responsible.
So a 5-year-old girl, a little 5-year-old that has 5-year-old brains, 5 years old. I have a 7-year-old that wouldn't be able to remember these kinds of things. A 5-year-old is supposed to make their own lunch, pack their own lunch, make their own lunch, and then remember to bring their own lunch. And then as a punishment for not having that responsibility, she is not allowing that child to eat at school. And she's saying that the teacher's on board with that because teachers want to teach their kids responsibility, which I call BS. No teacher would ever be okay with this. And I would think that most teachers in this situation would tell the parent it is your responsibility to make sure your child is fed and talk to her about maybe the proper expectations for what a 5-year-old child should know how to do. First of all, a 5-year-old is not even reading My son just graduated kindergarten. I can tell you, when they start kindergarten, they don't know how to read. Most of them, they are still learning the very basics with counting. And then so imagine that little brain trying to also remember, oh, I'm just going to go to school for the first time. And then I'm going to have to bring a lunch every day. And if I don't bring a lunch, then mommy is going to not let me eat. And she's trying to lie here and say that the teacher was like totally on board. But the problem here is that she's admitted that this has happened a lot. And that apparently it's not neglectful and she's not going to starve to death. So my question is, does she allow her child to eat more than when she gets home? Probably not. Not only that, I've had some of her subscribers reach out to me and say that there was an entire year that Ruby's little girl Eve didn't eat very much and it didn't grow from one year to the next because of the lack of food she was eating. So she thought it was appropriate to put that out. She also thought it was appropriate to tell people that she made her son sleep on the floor for 7 months because he played a prank on his little brother after he actually got out of a 2.5-month boot camp, essentially, which he was sent to. Let me just show you a little bit about this boot camp that she sent Chad to. And this whole Chad situation has people freaking out because they really think that there's something more to this story. So he was sent to Anasazi Way, which is a camp that is a wilderness camp in Arizona. And it's supposed to be a retreat that children are sent to for, misbehaving, or it can be a addiction. It can be anything. And they believe that, by going out walking and like sleeping under the stars and sleeping on the ground teaches kids how to be obedient. And they go for a minimum of 49 days. So they're supposed to have access to nursing. According to the website and some of those screen grabs that I just showed you, it's a 49-day minimum stay in an outdoor behavioral health care program. They have parenting workshop, special courses, and it was founded in 1988 by these two people that believe living under the stars teaches kids how to be better people. But Chad literally said the minute he got home, he played a prank on his little brother and he thought it was funny. So I'm still wondering what this actually taught him. They also claim to be a 501(c)(3). Wilderness retreats and therapies have been long debunked as not being effective, as well as being dangerous for children. In fact, in a Q&A, Chad actually shared that he at one point in time, while he was there, broke his toe, and they let his toe get black because there was nothing they could do about it. And his broken bone was treated after they got back. So I'm still wondering where the nurse was. Anyways, she gets back from this crazy wilderness camp and immediately takes his bed away and makes him sleep on the floor. She's admitting to not feeding her children at school. And she's also consistently on her channel talking about how she takes things away from her children because she believes that if a child can't be responsible, they shouldn't have it. The sad thing is that in the video that she recently deleted, all of her children literally admitted that they have no friends. They have no friends. And Chad, who's 14 or 15, said, I don't have friends. I can't communicate with them. I don't know how to communicate with them. Her children are all saying, we don't have friends either. So they don't have friends. They don't have access to any things. All they can do is play. They can't do anything. And yet here's the hypocrisy. Mom and dad are taking away social media, but they're making their money on social media. So the kids can't have social media, and you can still force your kids to be online. You can still exploit the kids for everything that they are. You can take everything that they want with clickbait. You can make them do a million different things. You can force their lives to be not private. It's for entertainment. They just moved from a smaller home into a humongous house, and they're making a bank killing on this. And for some reason, her kids can't have it because they're not doing it responsibly, but she's doing it responsibly by, admitting to not feeding her children and forcing her children to sleep on floors for 7 months. If you ask me from an outsider's perspective, these sound like abusive practices. They insist it's not. They have a lot of people speaking out about this. Fans on Twitter are going crazy. They want this family canceled. They want this family exposed. People are done with this family. Not only is it this family, but this family's kids all have YouTubes. They're making a ton of money, 2.4 million subscribers, and her videos are ranking in hundreds of thousands of views. And she's also got all these other channels. Her siblings all have channels. The entire family is on YouTube, and their entire lives are entertainment, but they don't have to treat their children well. And then they're going to give parenting advice. This is another example to me of why we need more protection for children on YouTube. You shouldn't be allowed to use YouTube and have your children be forced on to YouTube for everyone else's entertainment if you're not allowing them to have the same luxury of even having social media. It's a contradiction, it's hypocritical, and then it's also abusive to not feed your children, in my opinion, and it's also abusive to force your child to sleep on the floor for 7 freaking months. So, we're going to spend some time in the 8-passenger world, and I hope you can buckle on up because I am not having this. I'm not going to have this kind of crap on this platform. I'm not trying to deplatform her, but if you're going to be on YouTube and you're going to put your children out there, you better be doing things in a way that protects your children. You should not be forcing your children to do these things so you can make money. I wonder if any of the kids have money set up in their trust funds. I wonder if their kids have any access to all the money. Mom looks a whole lot different from when she first started YouTube. We could go on forever. But I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think about a mom sending her kid away for 2.5 months with no explanation of vague responses and then making her kid sleep on the floor for 7 months? And then also, what do you think about a 5-year-old having to pack their own lunches for school and the mom thinking that I'm going to just share this on YouTube? All right, you guys, tell me in the comments below. Bye.